Hi guys, welcome to Flash Fact. Today we're going to take a look at dominance. For starter, let's address one very popular misconception. There's a lot of people who think that dominance affects aggro. There's a lot of people who think that the more dominance you have and the more you will aggro the enemies, the more you will attract enemies towards you. It doesn't work like that at all. Uh, Dominance has nothing at all to do with aggro. Dominance has to do with crowd control, with pull move, with juggling enemies, and such kind of things. But when it comes to aggro, dominance has absolutely nothing to do with that. It has to be mentioned because there's way too many players who mistakenly think that the more dominance you have and the more aggro you will have, and it makes no sense. We'll probably make a video about aggro itself at some point, but I thought we should start by mentioning that since it is there's way too many people who believe that. So let's take a look at what the description actually says. So we're going to go into our inventory, into the stats tab, and essentially it says that dominance increase the potency of certain defensive and healing abilities, and the duration of certain control effects, stun, roots, levitation, and encasement from powers. Essentially, at higher level, the dominance has to be higher than the willpower of the enemies that you're trying to crowd control or pull or root and all that good stuff. How can you tell the willpower of an enemy? You can't really tell it by looking at the enemy. The only indication you have is that for a lot of missions, when you look at the on duty menu, uh, you see a suggested dominance. Usually that is what's telling you how much dominance you need to be able to crowd control the enemies during that mission. And even then, it's not all the enemies. Usually the crowd control will work against most mobs and maybe a few smaller bosses, but more often than not, the bigger bosses are pretty much immune to things like crowd control, stuns, pulls, and all that kind of stuff. Dominance is useful mostly for controllers and for tanks. Healers will find some use out of dominance, but it's mostly a controller or a tank stat. As a controller, your dominance is increased by 100%. So if we take a look at the dominance of our Batman that is a controller, you can see that his dominance is 2782. By comparison, the very same character, if we put him in DPS stance, his dominance will be 1352. And let's take a quick look at the various tank powers to see how they are affected by dominance. So like the controllers, the dominance of the tank is increased by 100%. But in the case of the fire tank, when the tank uses a superpower, it will increase his health by 2.2 per points of dominance. So in the case of the fire tank, not only dominance will be good for his crowd control, for his stun, his pull, his roots, but it will also be good to help him increase his health pool. Now let's take a quick look at the earth powers and how they are affected by dominance and tank role. So again, as a tank, the dominance will be increased by 100%, and using a power will increase the defense and toughness by 1 point per point of dominance. So again, for the earth power, it will be good for his crowd control, it will be good for his stun, his pulls, but also it will be good to help him increase his defense and his toughness when he uses a superpower. And now let's take a quick look at the rage power and how dominance affects it. So again, in tank role, the dominance is increased by 100%. And also, using a superpower increases the health of the tank by 2/3 of his dominance for each nearby enemy. So again, the dominance will be good for the characters' crowd control, the characters' pull, the stuns, all that good stuff, and it will increase his health. when he uses a superpower. There is also the atomic tank and the ice tank, but for those powers, all it really does is increase his dominance by 100%. So it will be good for his crowd control, for his pull, his stuns, but that's pretty much all it does. It doesn't give him any additional benefits, unlike the other tank powers. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.